We are in section 2, the value streams and processes dimension of this practice. There will be 5 questions in the exam, which will be a mix of Bloom's Level 2 and Bloom's Level 3, meaning understanding and application questions respectively. The process questions, if any, would be at Bloom's Level 2 of understanding, and the value stream questions would be at Bloom's Level 3 of application. Similar to section 2, we noted earlier that section 1 also carried 5 marks or 5 questions. So together, sections 1 and 2 make up 10 of the 20 questions in the exam, section 1 being the key concepts of incident management. The remaining sections 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which are related to the other dimensions such as the organizations and people, information and technology, partners and supplier, and then followed by 2 more sections which are about the capability model and the recommendations for practice success. Together, these 5 sections carry only a total of 10 marks, which means each of those sections after this, section 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 carry somewhere between 1, 2, or 3 marks each. Nevertheless, let's now focus on this section. Herein, we're going to take a look at, or a deep look at the processes of this practice and the inputs and outputs of each of those processes and the activities within each process and also the sequence of activities within each process. And we will conclude with the value streams concept in terms of how the incident management practice works within the incident resolution value stream and its contribution to other value streams also. There are 2 processes in this practice. 1, incident handling and resolution. 2, periodic incident review. So let's go deeper into these 2 processes. The first process, incident handling and resolution, focuses on the handling and resolution of individual incidents from detection until closure. We see here the key inputs, activities, and the outputs. Let's take a look at the activities of this process. It begins with incident detection, registration, then classification, diagnosis, resolution, and closure. There are 6 steps in this process. The outputs will be incident records, communication of incident status periodically. Some incidents may lead to problem investigation requests, which will eventually result in a problem record through the problem management practice. There can be certain change requests as a result of having to fix certain incidents by implementing a change. And there will also be incident reports for each incident, which are more detailed reports of specific incidents, for example, major incidents or new types of incidents, or for whatever incidents reports are requested. Of course, every incident will have an incident record, but an incident report is more like a detailed report for a specific incident or a set of incidents. Then there can be some updates to the knowledge base. For example, certain additional information being added, such as resolution information or some of the tips and techniques to resolve similar incidents in the future or any other improvement suggestions and so on. And lastly, we have an important one, which is the restored configuration items and services as a result of this process. Now, in the practice guide, we will not see the explanations for any of these outputs, neither the inputs. However, the activities will be explained in detail. So let us look at the inputs as well. One of the key inputs here would be the user queries who are bringing in the incident inputs, or it can be the incident is detected through the monitoring and event data. Therefore, those would be the 2 key inputs. Of course, there are other inputs also which help in the handling and resolution of incidents. The other one we see here is the SLAs agreed with consumers and also with the suppliers and partners. And meaning between the service organization and their partners. And then between the service organization and their consumers. Then we have information, the configuration information, the IT asset information, service catalog information, capacity and performance information, continuity policies and plans, information security policies and plans, and the knowledge base. These can be very useful for handling incidents. Of course, the various policies need to be complied with, and problem records can be useful to look at any known solutions to similar incidents that need to be improved because that incident occurred again. This is the process workflow for the incident handling and resolution process. This follows the business process management notation, which is a standard of drawing such workflow diagrams. And these symbols, we don't have to know them for the exam. However, it's good to at least understand some of the basics so that we can get some clarity on this. More important for the exam is to know the activities and what each activity actually does and what is the sequence of those activities. And also what specifically happens in each of those activities. So these symbols, meanwhile, the envelope is like a message to one person, for example, a user calling an agent, whereas the triangle is known as a signal. It is like similar to the message, but it is intended for anybody who receives it. So somebody who observes something going on might trigger the incident detection. And then the last one is more like an alert. This is like an error, which is mainly event-based, detected by the event and the monitoring and event management system. So we have 6 steps: incident detection, incident registration, incident classification, diagnosis, resolution, and closure. From the classification, it can even jump directly to resolution if a solution is available. Otherwise, it has to go through the incident diagnosis process. During the closure, if the resolution is not confirmed, it will, of course, come back to incident diagnosis again. So let us now understand what happens in each of these steps. The first step is to detect the incident. Here, a user detects a malfunction in service operation and contacts the service provider's service desk through their agreed channels, whatever that is. The service desk agent performs the initial triage of the user query, confirming that the query does indeed refer to an incident, because it's possible that it's not an incident that the user is calling about, but it could be like a service request. And in case of automatic detection, the event is detected by a monitoring system and identified as an incident based on a predefined classification because it's automated. Then the next step is to register the incident, meaning they will put all the data to the incident record. Then in the other one, the automatic detection also, the record is registered and associated with the configuration item where the event has been detected because it is automated detection. And certain predefined technical data is registered and notification is sent to relevant technical specialist if appropriate. Now, during the registration, only the incident record is actually created. Now, you might have seen in the previous diagram that the incident record is shown also in the incident detection step, the first step, but it is actually created in this step as per this text that we are reading here. Then, so it's possible that the detection step, there's a partial information only, but the actual complete registration happens during the second step of registration. Then the third step is to classify the incident, wherein the service desk agent, in case of manually user detected ones, the service desk agent would perform the initial classification. And this initial classification will help to understand the incident impact because users will generally specify the impact. And that can help to identify the team responsible for the failed configuration items or services, and or to link the incident to other past and ongoing events. So if I'm the service desk agent, I will understand what the impact is. It may be slightly difficult to understand the failed CIs, but there'll be some kind of a training by which I may be able to gather what kind of a CI it is. In fact, based on the keywords, etc., the system can tell me that it's probably a certain database CI or whatever. Because we learned earlier that during the manual detection, the impact is easily understood as compared to understanding which CI is impacted. Whereas in case of automatically detected ones, the impact is not clearly understood, but the CIs impacted are more easily determined because it's automated detection. So as a service desk agent, I will also think about any other similar past and ongoing events or incidents or problems, meaning any records open to understand the cause of other incidents that are on or from the past. And then this classification can sometimes be very useful for an immediate solution to be picked up. In case of automatic detection, during the classification would be automatic based on predefined rules. So And a lot of things can be also discovered, such as the impact on services and users, the solutions available, which is the technical team or teams responsible for the resolution. And those things are easy to do that. But we need to know, however, that the impact determination in case of automatically detected ones is less understood. Then goes to incident diagnosis. So if the classification does not provide an understanding of the solution in case of manually processed incidents, then the technical teams perform the diagnosis. They may transfer the incident to another team, like tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3 and so on. This is known as functional escalation. And in case of major incidents, it can be swarming, will be done. And in this step, it's possible during the diagnosis that the initial classification is incorrect or was incorrect. And therefore, this will be corrected in this step. And this information should be communicated to those responsible for configuration management also. So it's possible two things can happen here. Either the initial classification was incorrect due to improper understanding of the incident, and that can be corrected in the ticket itself. But it's possible that the classification was done correctly by the agent, but that was incorrectly done due to incorrect information in the configuration database, and that needs to be corrected. So that information needs to be communicated right away. In case of automatic detection, and if the solution, the automated solution was ineffective or unavailable, then the escalation would happen to a technical team for manual action further, for manual diagnosis. And in case of complex incidents or major, then the swarming can be used. It's again possible that the initial escalation may lead to a second escalation to another team and so on. Even in case of automatic ones, where the solution was ineffective or unavailable from the automated system. And again, when the solution failed because of incorrect CI association, then again, as we learned earlier in the manual one, and the same would be communicated to those responsible for the configuration control and management. Then the resolution of the incident is the next step. When the solution is eventually found manually, then the specialist teams will apply it. And that may sometimes require a change because they may have to put the fix, deploy it, and prepare it, and then release it for the user or users. And then if it doesn't work, then additional diagnosis would be needed again. In case of automatic process, if the automated solution is available, if it is applied, tested, and confirmed, then that's good. And sometimes a manual intervention may be needed, and the specialist team member would be needed for that. And it may also require a change request for that. And if the solution doesn't work, then some more diagnosis will be needed again. Then incident closure is a last step here. If incident is successfully resolved, then there may be several closure procedures. And this is interesting because, first of all, it's not only the user confirmation of the service restoration, but there can be cost of the restoration also to be calculated and to report that to management and other stakeholders. There would have been certain resolution price calculation and invoicing. It's possible that somebody would have to be invoiced, like the supplier might invoice the service provider for that as part of their services. And it may lead to a creation of a problem. So problem investigation, initiation could also happen. And of course, an incident review. And after all these actions are done, then the incident record would be updated accordingly. An incident will be formally closed. And this closure can be done by the product owner, service owner, incident manager, service desk agent, or whoever has been agreed to close it, depending on the incident model for this type of incident. In case of automatic process, if the solution is effective, the automated solution that is, then the records for the incidents are automatically updated and closed. And this report is sent to the responsible technical team. And the information about the incident, if that has been communicated to other stakeholders in the previous steps, then the closure should also be communicated to them. Then we have the next process, which is the periodic incident review. It ensures that the lessons from incident handling and resolution are learned and that approaches to incident management are continually improved. There are 3 steps here in the middle column of activities: the incident review and incident records analysis. Then after the analysis, incident model improvement initiation, where the actual improvement is done. And last step, incident model update communication, that yes, the improvement was done to a specific incident model. The key outputs would be the updated incident models, whatever model or models. And as part of the models, the updated incident handling procedures. Incident records can also be updated. The communication about the updated incident models and procedures to the stakeholders. Change requests if those were necessary. Improvement initiatives, like a backlog of improvement initiatives, and incident review reports following the review of in the first step of this process. So the inputs would be the current incident models and their procedures within those models, and the incident records and reports that are available, and then the various supporting service information, such as configuration information, IT asset information, SLAs, capacity and performance information, continuity policies and plans, security policies and plans, and so on. This is the sequence workflow, that is. This review can be done either periodically, the clock or the timer shows it can be periodic at regular intervals, and it can be also based on a request, as the envelope shows us. So initial step, incident review and incident records analysis. So there would be the actual review report and some incident records that are already available as an input. They can be output with some additions, modifications. Then incident model improvement initiation. This is where the actual improvement is undertaken. The continual improvement model can be brought in for this. And there will be usually a change request to make changes to certain service components or services, or to any approved procedures mainly. Then the incident model update is not confirmed. Then it goes back to the review again for further analysis. Maybe something was missed out. And once the improvement results in the updation of the model and procedures, then that would be communicated to all relevant stakeholders that the new things are now in place. And those procedures would be maintained as knowledge articles so that practitioners can use it. So the first step, incident review and incident records analysis. The incident manager, along with the service owners and others, will perform a review of selected incidents. What type? For example, which are major ones, those not resolved in time, or incident during a certain period. It can also be certain new types of incidents also that can be reviewed. This will help in identifying opportunities for improving the incident model and for improving the procedures, and also help in identifying automation opportunities. Then based on that, the model improvement will be initiated. This is where the improvement initiatives are logged or registered by the incident manager. And the continual improvement practice will be involved as well. Or in certain cases, a change request can be done to modify the incident management practice itself. I know certain elements of the practice, such as model, procedure, automation aspects. And therefore, a change request means it will bring in the change enablement practice. Then once that is all implemented, this will be communicated to the stakeholders that the model has been updated, the procedures are new ones, and those updated information would be made available to the practitioners. And this would be done by the incident manager or the service or resource owner.